All right. Gotta stuff that back down in there and put this one in a groove. Man, I'm in a kind of a rock and a hard place right now because I got the caliper off on the other side and I just have a little plug inside the banjo fitting. Can't see it, but on the back side of the hose or the back side of the caliper right here, that's a banjo fitting. I just have a little rubber vacuum plug in there and keeping the fluid from leaking all out, so I can't step on a brake pedal to kind of raise this piston up so I can get the seal in the groove. All right. It doesn't look pretty. I had to use a little bit of lubricant on it to help me get the dust seal all around. But hey, it's intact. It's where it's supposed to be. It's sitting below the piston. All right. So let's drive on with putting this thing back together. And all right, so we're going to lube these pins up. All right, there you go. I don't need that paper towel anyway. All right. Make sure that little dust boot is properly seated. Check for damages. Make sure the boot's intact. Moves freely. Yep. We'll get these little lands cleaned out. Excessive amount of brake dust. I'll go get my cleaning brush wherever I hit that, and the mounting clips. It doesn't matter what side they're on, they're both the same. It's all the same. They're all the same clips. All right. The shoes move freely. Trying not to get my big head in the way. How's that moving? All right. Let's get this side button back up. There we go. If I didn't mention it before, I'll mention it now, but the caliper to mounting bracket bolt is a 16 millimeter. I think somebody had cross-threaded that. What am I babbling about? What am I trying to say here is, I know somebody was back here doing brakes. We got a bolt it seems like it was kind of cross-threaded. The dust boots for the pistons were underneath the brake pads, completely blown out. Yeah. I'm sure there's a torque spec on this. Oh, I know there is. I just don't know what it is. All right. Once I push the pistons back into the calipers, got everything buttoned back up, I would pump it up, and then I'd go to the other side and push the calipers in. That way you're not forcing all the brake, not all, but a majority of the brake fluid back into the master cylinder, which could cause it to spill over. What you also got to watch is that if all the brakes were completely worn down and the level was at, in between the min and max, usually that means somebody had added more brake fluid, because obviously when the brakes wear out, the fluid goes into the pistons or the calipers, or if it's drum brake, it goes into the wheel cylinders. And then what happens is, when you push the pistons back in, it forces all of that fluid out that was added to bring the level up to, in between min max. So, be cognizant of that when you're doing brakes. If you're doing all the brakes and are all worn down and the level of fluid seems to be normal, take some out. All right, let's get this tire on. Enough of talking. What I'm also going to do is do my neighbor a solid. So you don't even need to use your hands. You can use your feet, your hand feet. Make sure that's seated. But what I'm going to do, see, like I said, incomplete sentences. I'm going to do my neighbor a solid and make sure that his tire pressure is okay. All right, so we're going to do my neighbor a solid here, and we're going to check the tire pressure of the inner wheel, you know, since it's off and it's easily accessible. Let's see what's up. It's supposed to be 65 psi. 69. All right. See what I'm trying to do. Just line it up so we can get the other valve stem accessible through one of those little windows. All right, so I'm just going to clock it a little bit different. One more, maybe. Let's see what that. I may have had it and I'm just being counterintuitive right now. What's up? Yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. All right. That's called doing somebody a solid. All right. Let's get this buttoned up. get this thing dropped down. All right, let's get after this driver's side. And since the vehicle weight was on the tire, I checked it. It was a little bit low, and I got it up to 65 psi. It was down to 59. Right there. That's where I would like to be. But I've been hanging out in the sunshine all day long. Nothing wrong with hanging out in sunshine all day long. It gets kind of old. All right. Got the new caliper, mounting hardware. I'm gonna get that put on. And I'll show you what I got the banjo fitting plugged up with. Fascinated with spiders. Love them. As long as they be eating up those mosquitoes, they're on my side. All right. So as you can see right here, all I used was a vacuum cap. All right, plug. There you go. And I am dehydrated. I've been drinking water all day too. I don't have my mind about me. All that is a vacuum plug. That way the brake fluid wouldn't leak out, you know, and then I'd have to bleed the whole system. So, all right, let's continue. Since we got new mounting hardware, and bolts. Oh, that's mounting hardware. Put those off to the side. Got these new ones lubed up. Man, that there we go. Just rotate that on. All right, do that again. Show you that it wasn't a fluke, right? That's funny. Let's get you moved in here a little bit closer. I can see what's going on. There you go. Yeah. Look how close that is. Oh, let me take this bolt off. Look at that. That is like, the engineers knew what they were doing. There we go. Splendid. Now, this is the brake line bolt to the caliper that I took off the old one. Because the new one doesn't have it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. All right, look at that. That's a Ford replacement. I think they came with brake clips. Let me go check. Yeah, here's the ones that came with the brakes. All right, so make sure that this is nice and clean. All right, I had it sitting up here on the dirty leaf spring, so we'll wipe that down. We got to get this copper washer off the back side. Yeah, that's on there pretty good. clean the surface off. Yeah, I want to hit that up with the wire brush. Get both sides. Can't really see. There we go. I want to get the wire brush on that. All right, put that down. How's that look? Looks good. Here's the new copper washers. Place these off to the side here. There's a little bit of rust in here. Right. Kind of wiped it out, but it's a little bit crusty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this bolt in. That way, when it comes time to actually assemble it, it goes in nice and easy without any restriction. What I'm going to do is wipe those threads down because they got some rust on them. It's one washer. Now, this hose, this banjo fitting, has this recess in it, which lines up with the caliper. Nope, that's wrong. It doesn't turn. I thought this part went inboard, but it doesn't. This part goes up against the caliper. So this is what we'll do. Put that off to the side. Get our caliper up. Wow, come on. That's ridiculous. Alright, there we go. That little flat rests up against there. There we go. Just a little bit. Is that a different size? Are you kidding me? All right. So we went from a 16 to a 17. All right. I'll just put the bottom one in for extra support. Alright, there we go. Can you see that? Maybe not. Maybe not. So, I'll get my inside washer ready. Get my drip pan. I'm going to need that off. Loosen up that leader screw. Alright, let's see if we can get this plug out. There we go. There we go. Oh, stuff's flowing now, huh? I just ran that all the way down. What's up? Ah, the washer. Yeah, it's getting held up on the washer. Snug that down. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is just crack the bleeder valve, let it gravity feed. There we go, we already got fluid flowing. And we topped it off at the master cylinder so we don't have to worry about running out while we're doing this process. All right. We'll put the brake pads on. $17 millimeter, right? tighten it. Yeah, I gotta get a rag, wipe my hands off. There we go. Put this up out of the way. Get our clips. Remember, always keep one around so you know which way they go. Alright, put a little bit of lube on these spacers. That's it, all right. Moves freely, lubed up. Line that up. Get that to rotate. There we go. You got to make sure the mounting hardware is fully seated on the caliper. I'm gonna go pump it up a little bit. Any leaks? I don't see any leaks. All right, we're doing one-man brake bleeder. What we got to do is we got to fill this up with some brake fluid. Hook this part up to the bleeder and step on a brake pedal a couple of times. All right, just put just a little bit in there, that way when the air passes through the fluid it doesn't suck in more air, but it sucks in fluid every time I press and depress the brake. So all I got to do now is just break loose the bleeder screw just a little bit. Something like that. Just like that. All right, let's see what happens. Anything? Did we get any? Nope. Let me break it loose just a little bit more. Yeah, that should do it. Something like that. All right. Yeah, that's working, huh? All right, there's the max level. We're just right below that. So the brake fluid's good to go. Put the cap back on. I broke it loose that way it doesn't create a vacuum. And we'll just get this back tire buttoned up and call this job done. Don't even have to use your hands. All right, don't forget to clock the window so you can reach the other valve stem. I think that's it. All right, so we did rear brakes, troubleshooted, caliper issues, scavenged parts off of the other caliper to repair the passenger side, went through bleeding procedures, and yeah, so this is 2012 Ford F350 Super Duty, and this is the LH4X4 doing stuff. Thanks for watching.